Hello, 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 my Let's Talk family. Once again, I am Regina Smith with your host, and tonight we are doing the Let's Talk Business edition, Business Spotlight edition, and I'm honored to have Mr. Juan Lee on the show this evening. We're going to get into his book and a lot of things that he's doing. So, Mr. Lee, you want to go ahead and say hello to the Let's Talk crew?
Hello, everyone. You want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, you can. You can run it right ahead.
Okay. My name is Juan Lee. I'm the founder and executive director of Clear Journey, a nonprofit that teaches teenagers and young adults financial literacy and attitudes for success, giving them what we would like to say, the ability to navigate life successfully. Also, I'm an author and a transformational speaker, which basically is on the topic of love, the power of love. And I'm the author of a book called Love Made Simple, which is the guide to inner peace, contentment, and success. So I thank you for having me this evening.
Well, I thank you for coming. With all this stuff you're doing, you're doing a lot of good stuff.
Well,
Especially talking about the self development and love. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when you talk about self development, I know we were talking about those four parts, but you were trying to explain to me exactly how it works. So can you just explain to our audience?
well, love has components. Basically, it's attitudes that really begin to shape one's own individual self development.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first place that we begin to experience love. It's in the process of developing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through those processes, and all the way through it, we have the seven attitudes that govern us. But the steps that we go through are that we have to know self, accept self,
Mm-hmm.
develop self, so that we can give self.
All right.
And all the way through that is that ability to get to know, accept, and develop who we really authentically are.
Mm. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of
You're
people don't know
absolutely
that.
right. Because, and I'll tell you the truth, it's not easy, but I tell you, the journey is worth it.
It
The
is.
journey is worth it, because of what you get and what we suggest that you um, desire is
Mm-hmm.
that peace and clarity to navigate life's challenges. And so it's you can't avoid the challenges, but
Mm-hmm.
you can navigate them with peace, and that's clarity to be able to reach your goals, gain the fulfillment that life has for you, and reach your full potential.
And basically when we were saying that we wasn't ever taught how to love ourselves, and your book and in the way you structure it, you kind of break it down, because those four pieces is basically kind of breaking it down and building it back up, and then you're able to give after you know who you are. A lot of us probably just do like we give or we don't know, and it kind of is out of sync. So we kind of a lot of times we get hurt, right? If we want to give and give and give, but we don't receive, and then we don't know that we are enough. We're expecting it from other people, and when we don't get it from them, that's when we start getting our feelings hurt, taking things personal, right?
Well, I think the biggest issue as it relates to love is the misunderstanding of it. See,
Mm-hmm.
we get the impression, or we've been taught or been led to believe that love is about what we can receive.
Mm.
Love is not what we receive, love is what we give. What we receive is fulfillment from that which we give.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when we think that someone is going to be able to give us love, it's just an indication that we have these voids, that are these areas in our lives that are empty, so that we're
Mm-hmm.
looking for somebody else to fill them, but no one else can fill them.
Mm-hmm.
And so until we're able to understand that we've got to do the work so that we have something to give. And see, what happens is when we begin to give and we've not developed ourselves, we end up depleting ourselves and then
Mm-hmm.
wonder why we're empty.
Right.
And because of what we've given, is really something that's superficial and not really abundantly who we are. And see, that's when you get to the authentic use, because that means that you don't have to worry about it being something that you can exhaust. It's who you are. And that means that you always have it to give. You always have it to give with no expectations of anything in return.
That's
Because
the
this is something that we possess it. It's innately in us. It's who we are. It's not something that we have to conjure up, or something that we have to muster up in the moment, or something that we got to give to somebody else because you're expecting something back from return. It's easy. It becomes love made simple, because it's easy for us to give what it is we have, and it's an abundance of it. So then it's really a beautiful place to be.
It really is. And then one part that you said that kind of brought it back is when you was talking about being selfish, because when you're giving and you're only giving to receive, then you made a good point. There's a void somewhere you're trying to fulfill, because if you know who you are, you're giving for the right purpose is to give. And if everybody's giving, everybody's receiving. The problem lies there's people who are expecting something back and not giving like they're supposed to give. It kind of breaks it. It kind of messes up the cycle there.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, the what you get for giving is fulfillment. Okay, you can't expect love from anyone. You can't expect it from anyone. You've got to have that. You've got to know that for yourself and identify that for yourself, so that love is something that you give. Okay, fulfillment is what we innately desire. That's that thing that fulfills anything above that development, because it basically brings validation to your development. When you're fulfilled, that means somebody else appreciates what it is that you've offered, and it brings back that full circle is in fulfillment, not in getting love back.
Right.
No. So that's where we really we're really misunderstanding this process, because at the point where we're actually giving it out, you can't get that back. Nobody can give that back, because that's innately your original. That's who you are. Yeah. So you're giving something that can't nobody replace that. All you've got to do is have an abundance of it. And that's where you've developed it to the point where it's like air. It's who you are. It's what you do. And so you're not expecting, and I think that's one of the misunderstandings is that we're expecting it back.
But I guess the society as a whole, movies and everybody else kind of teaches you that, and that's where a lot of people get their belief systems from, is what they see in media or movies, because they feel that's the way the world is working, and it's not. Because like you said, the whole core is, I think almost every conversation I have, almost everybody leads back to knowing who you are. And it sounds very simple, but it's not. It's simple, but it's not simple, because if you're taught a certain way, you have to kind of break those beliefs, and it takes time to break habits that you had all your life and try to figure out who you are. Like one time I asked somebody who they were, they told me they was a lawyer, and I was like, well, I didn't ask you your profession. I said, who are you? And they sat there. They couldn't answer it, because nobody never asked people those questions. And when they do, they attach it to tangible or titles, not who they are as a core. Because if you wasn't a lawyer, but who are you when you're not working? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're somebody else. You're not a lawyer all day long. I mean, you're technically a lawyer, but you're not working all day long. You actually are a person. So that, I think, would stem a lot of these issues. Will kind of be good if we was able to find that purpose of who you are and what you're here for. And so when you said one time we were discussing something about presentations and not applications, we had discussed that there was presentations, not application.
I guess, I mean, that's a process of who you are, because we get caught up into presentations. But I can't really recall
I
that
think it was
particular.
applications, meaning to apply yourself more or less, like, being a presentation. I think it was more of, like you just said, we are just putting a show out there who and then, but we're not
That
applying nothing, or we're not,
Yeah, that's a societal thing because we're just falling into the line with what we've been learning or what
hmm
we've learned.
hmm
I'd like to go back to one thing that you said though, and that was that as it relates to it being hard,
hmm
it's absolutely hard. And the first thing that we do is that we have to go back and deprogram.
hmm
You've got to wonder, you've got to come to the conclusion as to find out how you got to where you are.
hmm
Okay. And the only way you can find out or even ask that question is that you've got to recognize that where you are is not where you want to be.
mm. Good point.
And these are critical steps to this process of being able to find out who you are authentically. Because until you're able to ask those questions, because to find out who you are is it's just, to be honest with you, it's just a list of asking yourself the hard questions and being honest with yourself
And
and
that's
being
when
honest with yourself.
that's the hard part, because you don't really, like, when I had to get to that point for me, I had to say, hey, you have validation issues. You have low self-esteem. You're a people pleaser. You you have a voids that you've been filling with the wrong things. You're expecting too much from people. And you definitely hit it on the head when you said that, because we expect too much from humans, and we supposed to expect it from ourselves. And it's easier for us to put it on somebody else because they make somebody else responsible, but you're making them responsible for your happiness, and you can't let nobody, even when you're dating or you get married, always people say, that person not supposed to be, you supposed to be happy already, and they supposed to be a bonus into your life. They're not supposed to be your happiness, because as soon as they leave, your happiness goes with them. If you saying that, you're not gonna be happy if they're not there. That kind of tells you that you really need to work on yourself, right? So, like, with your book and the things you're ascribing is the steps you need to do to work on yourself, so you'll be able to be fully whole and not have them voids. So regardless what you do in life, if you're married or not married or whatever the case is, you're going to be happy regardless.
Well, see
And I had
that.
to learn that myself, not to put happiness or try to put that in other people to give it to me. I had to give it to myself.
Well, see, and that's very interesting that you use the word happy because that's right there is a buzzword in our society as it relates to being happy.
Mm-hmm.
Happy is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
It only can it's situational and it's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
We enter in and out of happiness um, based on circumstances. And
Right.
see, when you give a person that ability to come in and out of your happiness, that dictates your happiness, you're
Mm-hmm.
automatically going to be at their disposal. You're going to be at their whim, at that, how your happiness is going to be based on them.
Mm.
And so the word that I try to use is to ensure is what I say is the subtitle of my book is to have peace,
Mm-hmm.
contentment with all your needs met. That means that you not only know who you are, you
Mm-hmm.
accept who you are, and you've developed who you are. And wherever you are at any given point in time,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll be content there. That nobody's going to be able to maneuver you and push you outside of what boundaries you've established as a result of getting to know yourself, accepting self, and being able to develop self. Because
Right.
that's where you put your boundaries, you find yourself. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you have that, you occupy that place of peace. So that, and then our responsibility, our job at that point is to maintain it, is to protect it. You protect that, you put the boundaries up so that you can protect that piece of who you are.
Right.
And then people that engage with you enter into that boundary only when you allow them in because they fit and they add value.
Mm-hmm.
They fit and they add value. If they don't fit and add value, they're an acquaintance, they're a passerby, they're somebody else's fit, but that's not your fit. But
Right.
you know that. And that allows us to be able to determine who comes in our circle. See, a lot of the problems that we run into in relationships is that we let the wrong people into our circle. And the thing about it is that the reason why we let them in is because we don't know what our circle means.
We don't know who we are to even have a circle.
That you're not set any boundaries. You let anything and anybody in.
Yeah.
And so when they take what we perceive as happiness and throw it all around and mess it all up, now they control you instead of them adding value to you.
You made a good point, and I'm thinking in my head, and if you're in a relationship and if you don't know who you are, and then this person brings you this happiness, that's why a lot of people stay in these relationships, because they get kind of addictive into they think that person is their happiness. So they don't, even though they know they're not happy, but maybe 20% of the time, they rather keep the 80% to get that little 20% of this supposed to be happiness, because they feel they let it go, they'll get 100% of nothing. That's the
fear. That's the fear.
That's the fear. So
that's the fear.
That's what making me think, like, so a lot of people's in these relationships, not even because they want to, but they scared of the unknown of not having nothing, and they don't realize that the peace will come. But you just got to go through those stages. Like, if you, at first, of course, it's like a habit, you have to break. But if you get to know who you are, and like you described a little earlier, that peace to know that you are good with you, it's like, it's worth $1 million to me now. I get it now. It took me time to learn that. And when I'm like where I'm at right now in life, I am happy who I am. I'm living the life that I, always dreamed, and I'm happy. And I'm happy because of me, not because anyone else, and actually, I haven't really been around a lot of people lately. I've been working and doing a lot of stuff that I always wanted to do. So it's not like I'm depending on people to make me feel good. Like, I'm actually good on my own, and I'm enjoying people in my life. The other way around was what it was before. These people was in my life, and I was fulfilling myself with them to make me happy. And I wasn't even happy with myself. So I know exactly what you're talking about, because I actually went through the same transition about 2 years ago. So I get you.
Yeah. I mean, there is so much beyond what somebody else can offer you. The state of the ability to be in a state of peace, to have peace. Peace is something that most people don't even entertain. They don't even understand it, nor do they even think about it until they are so. And understand, peace is something that's internal. Okay, it's not circumstances, and it's not external. It's internal. And we put so many things around us to avoid trying to develop that peace on the inside.
But we
will avoid it. We will avoid it. And the reason being is because we've allowed circumstances around us to give us a false interpretation of what peace looks like.
Right.
See, we think that it's lack of conflict. That's external. There's lack of conflict, but you can't get outside of yourself in any situation. Things come to you. Situations come to you. And the ability to be able to navigate those situations with peace is priceless.
Right.
It's priceless. See, one of the things that I share and I teach is the ability to be able to navigate good and bad relationships, because they both have value.
They do. They teach you moments.
They both have value, but only if you're able to navigate them, to understand
them. And know how to navigate them and understand why they're there. When you understand that some of the valleys come in your life, there's reasons for it. Like, learn the reasons why they're there. They're there for a reason. Nothing happens to you, happens for you. So everything is a reason why it's happening. Your job is to figure out what it is. So when something doesn't happen in your favor per se, but see, sometimes it is in your favor. You just don't see it yet. You don't see the far, the picture. You just see right in front of you. The big picture is when most people go through things later on, you'll see people have interviews. They always say, at the moment I was, now I'm so happy that did happen to me because it changed me, or it changed the path I was gonna take, or always at the end, it makes sense. But while you're
When
going through it, it's kind of, a mystery when you're going through it.
one of here's the things that allow us to navigate life so that we don't have to wait to the end to
Mm-hmm.
get that clarity is the attitudes of love. And
Mm-hmm.
the attitudes of love allow us to change the perspective as
Mm-hmm.
to how we see situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you say it's a teachable moment?
Mm-hmm.
That right there in and of itself is a switch in the way in which our attitudes view any situation. If we
Mm-hmm.
just look at that and go like, I'm going to say that every situation I need to learn something from it,
Mm-hmm.
instead of going woe's me,
Mm-hmm.
what can I learn from this? Could
Right.
I have done something different? Because here's the thing that is so repetitive about life is that you'll repeat it until you learn it.
Mm.
Because we're just creatures of habit. We do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with the same people at the same place. We just do the same thing over and over again until we have something that don't go in our favor,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to blame or be a victim of it,
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying, how did I get here to put myself in this situation
That's right.
that I could have prevented it
That's
if
called
I had done
accountability.
something different.
That's called accountability. A lot of us don't like to take accountability. That's what it is.
Well, again, these are the ability to be able to navigate life. A part of it is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
A part of it is accountability. These attitudes that love demonstrates or gives us is that they are the ones that allow us to be able to walk and to go successfully through this life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if we don't adhere to those attitudes, we're going to be subject to life dictating to us what our outcomes are. And what
Right.
happens is we end up looking at the outcome going about woe's me, instead of being proactive in navigating it so that you can get to the outcome that you desire. We
Mm-hmm.
let life dictate it to us. And life is no joke. It,
Yeah,
it it's going to act with or without you,
that's right.
with your input or without it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called time, and it don't joke. It don't play.
No, it doesn't. It's a good point. And I always say you steer your car. Life is a road, and you can let the steer wheel go and just let it go where it want to, or you want to put your hands on the wheel and drive your life. So it's up to you. And a lot of us kind of just put our hands in the air and just let the car go where it want to go.
And wonder why.
And wonder why what happens to us. Like,
And
oh,
wonder why.
what happened? Like, you didn't drive your car. Your car was just out there with no hands on the steering wheel. So that's what happens. So let's talk about, before we get into what you're going to be doing in the future, let's talk about what you're doing right now. So I know you have a nonprofit organization that you work with and you mentor. Can you give us a little synopsis on that? What you're doing with
Well,
that?
Clear Journey is a nonprofit 501c charitable organization that teaches teenagers and young adults financial literacy and attitudes for success in navigating life's challenges.
Mm,
We basically give them a head start, basically a view or the tools to be able to
mhm.
navigate life. And finances is one of those areas that can derail you in a hurry and will prevent you from reaching your goals and dreams.
So true.
Um, and so, with attitudes and the proper financial education, we think that we can help young people navigate successfully through those minefields that particularly occur early on in life, to be able to, see some things a little bit clearer before they
Mhm.
end up looking up from some debt or some bad decisions that are going to be long lasting and life changing.
And I think we finally catching on with that because schools are finally putting it into their school systems now. My sons had actually took it already, and it taught them a lot. And they know, like, they know about interest and banks. And I wish we had that when I was growing up because they just sent you to school and you go to college, and then they had these little tables out there, and everybody was giving out credit cards, and people were getting a credit card. I just got the credit card to get the free mug. I mean, the free water bottle. I just wanted the free water bottle. They give you little stuff, and you get a card. I had 6 credit cards in college, not one job. I had 2 gas cards, 2 major cards, and 2 store cards. What
And
would I
and
do?
and how does that work?
Oh
How
yeah.
how, how does that work? How does a system that knows that there is a system there, okay?
Mhm.
But there's a system, and that system is a hook,
Oh yeah. It gets
okay?
you.
And but there is no practical, that system has no, doesn't benefit you at all, okay?
No, no,
It's
no, it's
a
not for you.
it's a quick fix. It's a quick fix to the moment, but they know they got you on the hook for a long time.
Years to come. Years to come if you don't do right. Years to come. And
Those are the kinds of things that I try to prevent.
and I'm glad you're here to do that because a lot of these people, a lot of like our sons and daughters out here that are coming into going to college, they need to learn how to work their loans and work their credit and not take money that just because they give it to you, you don't need it, don't take it. You take only what you need. Don't take no extra spending on stuff because you're gonna have to pay it back with interest. And that's the things that we needed to learn. And a lot of us too was first generation college students, so our parents really didn't know how to tell us that because they haven't experienced that. Some of us didn't have parents that went to college, so now you learn in high school, even if the parents don't know, at least you know for yourself when you get out there what to do. And people like you that's giving these courses and mentoring, that's a wonderful thing. So now you have the nonprofit, you have your book, you're teaching. So what are you currently working on?
Well, I'm working on a coaching program and also courses online. Hopefully, within the near future, there'll be a course online called Navigating Life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 6-week program that's going to go through the steps of understanding life
Mm-hmm.
all the way through fulfillment. It's really putting a practical application of love in a way in which we can maneuver life in a successful manner clearly,
Mm-hmm.
so that we know what steps to take, how we can be successful in this life, and what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yes.
coaching is basically right in hand with that. So if you need that assistance as it relates to going through the course, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
have the one-on-one coaching and to go along with it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's all about being able to navigate life. Nobody gives us directions, and we're all trying to figure it out. But hopefully, this program can help us all figure it out.
And I think, and I know it will. You have a lot of knowledge with this, and I really believe that this is going to be a great course for people who are lost and don't understand, and it'll just kind of get them on the right path. So, but I thank you so much for coming on my show today, Mr. Lee. You was really, really informational. I mean, I learned a lot from you just for these last 30 minutes. So, well, excuse me, on Let's Talk people, please look out for Juan Lee. He has some good information coming out. And how would my audience be able to find you?
Well, you can reach me at, and I want to just share with you, the nonprofit has a website called, and it's theclearjourney.org. Um,
Clearjourney.org.
yeah, you can go on that website and check us out, and you can reach me through there. Also, you can reach me on my website from the book. It's juanleetheauthor.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can email me at info@juanleetheauthor. And one thing that I want to share with your audience is that the Clear Journey, we're looking for partners. We're looking for sponsors. Anyone who feels the need to want to support this journey, this mission, and want to be involved with it. reach out to me. Give me a call. Give me an email. Send me an email. Because I think this is bigger than just one person. We're in this thing together, and it's about bringing all of us together. That's what love does. It unifies us, and that's what Clear Journey is all about. It's about teaching our next generation, giving them a head start.
Okay. And say your email again one more time.
The email address.
Yes.
You can email me at clearjourney2020.com or at gmail.com, or you can email me at info@juanleetheauthor.com.
All right. So y'all know how to reach him, and he's looking for sponsorships to help with the partnership to do what you want to get done. This is to educate our youth.
And here's the thing, just to let you know, everything, all the programs, the coaching, everything is to support the nonprofit. It's all tax deductible.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
even your personal training, your personal one-on-one and your course, it goes to a tax deductible organization. It all falls under Clear Journey. You buy the book, you go to my website, buy the book. I don't know if that's going to be a write-off, but but you can at least think that it's going to support the nonprofit.
the nonprofit. All right. Well, we heard that. So once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Once again, I'm your host, Regina Smithwick, and you've been listening to and watching Let's Talk, the Business Spotlight Edition. And Juan Lee, thank you so much for being a guest on our show. Until
Thanks
next
for
time,
having me.
y'all have a good night and God bless.